DAZN long. The Black Lotus clan sends their regards.
Is this a challenge? It's promise!
Your reputation precedes you.
Perhaps, but you're still just a pussy.
Welcome to the motherfucker. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. PBC becomes the latest boxing entity to join DAZN, shares upcoming slate. The deal is set to run through the end of 2026, and discussions around an extension will be revisited later in the year. A source with direct knowledge of the partnership told The Ring, in the meantime, the development is a significant one for both parties. For PBC, it widens its reach by activating engaged fans across an existing avenue and streaming service, while also adding additional revenue streams. To complement its existing deal with Amazon's OTT offering, Prime Video, which will continue to present PBC pay-per-view events a la carte. So you caught the important part, right? That the deal, while significant, is a short-term deal. For DAZN, it adds additional fight nights and pay-per-view programming to its Ultimate plan, which costs approximately $49.99 monthly in the United States. Ultimate plan subscribers have access to pay-per-views for no additional charge. Well, that's because the Ultimate plan is an additional charge. While a standard monthly subscription without pay-per-view events costs approximately $24.99, the first pay-per-view event that the PBC will present as part of its official new deal with DAZN arrives later this month when Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu square off on July 26th in Australia. A second show will follow on August 22nd, when Rolando Romero defends his WBA welterweight title against Teofimo Lopez in Las Vegas. TGB Promotions boss Tom Brown, the primary promoter of PBC events, and other principals teased some of the other fights that should soon hit the calendar across September 19th and October 17th. Among them were WBC junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora facing mandatory challenger Ermol Hadrabayej, WBA featherweight champion Brandon Figueroa taking on Tomoki Kameda! Tomoki Kameda? Didn't he just get a shot at Angelo's belt? He did, and he lost. I don't know who over there keeps paying for this guy to get title shots. WBC interim middleweight champion Jesus Ramos facing mandatory challenger Mayrim Nursultanov of Kazakhstan, and IBF bantamweight champion Jose Reyes taking on his mandatory Michael Angeletti. Formal dates and locations were not announced for the matchups. PBC's agreement with DAZN is a landmark moment for boxing, particularly in the United States, where the sport has such a passionate and deeply engaged fan base. Shay Segev, DAZN Group CEO, said in a statement, "This partnership brings one of America's most influential boxing brands onto DAZN and strengthens our position as the premier destination for the biggest fighters, promoters, and events in the sport. As the global home of boxing, DAZN is committed to expanding access, elevating the fan experience, and delivering the fights that matter most to audiences in the US and around the world." PBC initially tested the DAZN waters in May when it partnered with Golden Boy to present a pay-per-view on DAZN and Prime Video. The event headlined by David Benavidez's sixth-round stoppage win against Zerto Ramirez. PBC has been tied to Prime Video ever since Showtime Sports ceased operations at the end of 2023, but PBC has primarily staged pay-per-view events via Prime Video, with its non-pay-per-view event offerings for Prime have been far and few in between. PBC is thrilled to align with DAZN to showcase world-class boxers and events on the global home of boxing, Tim Smith, a PBC spokesperson, said in a statement. Tim Smith is the VP of communications over there. He's the guy who originally said Crawford versus Spence wouldn't make any money, and that's why they didn't want to make it. That's who that guy is. How wrong he turned out to be. That turned out to be Errol Spence Jr.'s biggest fight. Over the last decade, PBC has led the sport in major events featuring the biggest pay-per-view stars and the top champions across all weight divisions. This move represents a fantastic opportunity for the sport of boxing and, most importantly, the boxers. DAZN's deal with PBC is the latest in a mountain of moves brokered by the streaming service. From February onward, DAZN signed a new 5-year deal with Matchroom Boxing, gave free agent Top Rank a broadcast home with a multi-year deal, and re-upped with longtime partner Golden Boy after its previous deal with Oscar De La Hoya's promotional company had expired. DAZN has also brought Boxer to its lineup and expanded its reach in the United States by distributing shows once a month on cable via TNT with a new show billed as The Fight, which debuted earlier this month. DAZN also presents live boxing events from The Ring, Queensberry, Eye of the Tiger, Salida Promotions, Misfits, BKB, Championship, and others. Reacting to this story, David Gold, a friend of the channel, said on the topic of DAZN, PBC just announced their partnership with DAZN. I went over to Boxing Ego's channel to see his reaction, as he used to make multiple videos calling DAZN trash. It's going to fail in America, and claiming there's a DAZN curse. Now he's saying DAZN makes sense. I think that's the real story here. No fucking shit it makes sense, Sherlock. How many years did it take you to arrive at that conclusion, though? Because that's the real story. Content creators in the boxing space attempt to be news sources, to give the listener, give the viewer insights into what's happening in the sport, and it would seem that Boxing Ego and many, many others, they couldn't see the forest through the trees. That Eddie Hearn was gonna fail, and he didn't know what he was doing, that DAZN was gonna go bankrupt, and they were going to go under, when it's the opposite that ended up happening. Literally the opposite. They have effectively cornered the market on boxing. All the major promoters from all the big boxing markets have now all converged on the platform that you said was gonna fail. So one is left to wonder, how is a good-for-nothing channel like Boxing Ego that gets it wrong so many times about so many things, how do they amass such a large following? And it's because content creation is not an exact science. You can make a lot of money saying things that aren't true and pandering to an audience. Outright making up news, manufacturing stories like Fanon Boxing does. And by the time people realize you're full of shit and none of it is true, you've moved on to the next sensationalist story, the next salacious headline. Next line of bullshit. The reality of it is that the truth is often more mundane than what people would like, and the truth can make you unpopular. Thus, just telling the truth and reporting the news as it is, for what it is, believe it or not, there's a lot of people that don't like that. They want to be lied to. You know what the best parallel for it is? Women and toxic relationships. The toxic men they often go after, then complain about it afterwards as if they didn't have a choice. If you're getting your news from a Boxing Ego or a Fanon Boxing, you're making a conscious decision to be lied to. And it's gotta be from not really wanting to know what's going on, but wanting to be lied to. Wanting a more accommodating version of the news that really isn't the truth, but you don't care. Because the truth is, I was among the first to tell you that DAZN was here to stay, it's gonna work out, and it's gonna be Showtime and Fox that end up leaving. Which they did. That Al Heyman is not the genius that he's made out to be, and the PBC as a business, attempting to operate as an island, in a bubble, was always doomed to fail. What is this if not an abject failure? What is this if not an acquiescence of defeat when you're the ones that were calling them dead zone? But now they're so fucking happy to partner up with them for what is this landmark deal. It's only because you have to survive. You can't afford to stand alone anymore, trying to compete with DAZN and Zuffa. Your long-term strategy, it didn't work. That's why you have to do this. The content creators that put you on a pedestal for so many years, trashing DAZN in favor of you? Yeah. I know their arms have got to be getting tired from having to move that goalpost. People choose to listen to that shit? They do. Because I'm going to let you in on a little secret about people. Most people are fucking idiots. It's not hard to take advantage of them. And in some ways, they want to be taken advantage of. Now, addressing the actual news, it would seem that not just PBC pay-per-views will be landing on DAZN, but ordinary fights as well, which I would call a good thing, because that's that much more content for your money for existing DAZN subscribers. I think to some degree being on DAZN gives them an additional arm of revenue to start doing regular shows again, which they haven't really been able to do much of on Amazon Prime.
I would call that a good thing.
And they may yet be able to utilize DAZN's ongoing partnership with TNT to maybe have some of their fighters fighting on that separate platform to get those fighters more exposure, to cater to a wider audience, not exclusive to DAZN subscribers. So it could work out.
It's not a bad thing.
But they have effectively bent the knee. Don't let anybody tell you different. They wouldn't be on DAZN if they didn't need to be, given what their original stance on the platform was.
And if Amazon Prime as a platform were fulfilling all of their needs like Showtime and Fox used to, they wouldn't be on DAZN now, sharing content. They're doing this because they have to, because they failed.
Tank called out Bam Rodriguez. You know what Tank is doing? This is what I think Tank is doing. Tank now is starting to have fun with social media. He's saying, look at this. I can say anything. It don't matter what I say. It could be the most outlandish stuff. And guess what? Everybody gonna listen and everybody gonna believe it. He called out Floyd Mayweather the other day. I want to fight Floyd, suit up Floyd or something like that. Now he's saying Bam Rodriguez. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Come on, Tank. Look, Tank, we just need you to get back in the ring, buddy. That's all we need. I get all the little chatter or whatever. Hey, look, the YouTube streets, they happy. They happy to hear you talk because they can bring it up and you get views. They get views on their channel. However, bro, you ain't fooling me. Get back in the ring, bro. What we waiting on? They saying next year. That's what they saying. So until then, until you get in the ring, I don't believe anything you say, bro.
I would have agreed with Timothy Bradley's perspective on this, except what is said to have happened didn't happen on social media. It wasn't Gervonta Davis via his Twitter account or his burner on Twitter calling out Bam. This is said to have happened behind the scenes.
It's according to Robert Garcia, not Gervonta Davis himself. We didn't get it from the horse's mouth. It's tantamount to hearsay. The reason people believe it is because why would Robert lie about something like that? Boxing insider Rick Glacier, he's skeptical. He says Bam Rodriguez's trainer and manager, Robert Garcia, has exposed the fact that Tank Davis wants Bam to move up 5 weight classes to fight Tank. But Al Heyman just told Devin Haney's father, Bill, that Tank won't be available till next year. So the big question is, who lied? Bill, that he ever had the talk with Al Heyman, or did Heyman lie because he doesn't want Tank to fight Devin? Someone is lying.
Not necessarily. So in Timothy Bradley's opinion, this is all just a prank and Gervonta's having fun on social media, except what happened didn't happen on social media. Rick thinks that somebody's lying.
Could be Robert, it could be Bill, or it could be Al, but somebody's not telling the truth.
Where I don't think it's either of those things because none of it is mutually exclusive. I don't think it's a prank for social media because it didn't happen on social media. And nobody's got to be lying for all of this to be true.
All of it could have happened.
Gervonta Davis targeting smaller fighters is right up his alley because he's been doing that for years. He used to bring up guys from 126 up to 130. Then he started bringing up guys from 130 up to 135. So this is right up his alley and I don't put it past him.
He's a coward.
And him being benched for the rest of the year has no bearing on that because it's not like he gave Bam a deadline or a time frame to do that fight. It's sort of the same with Devin.
Bill might have actually spoke to Al Heyman about the fight.
But not on the pretense that the fight was going to happen this year. Maybe next year. Those conversations may have actually happened.
Conversations, because I don't actually expect them to ever fight.
Between the actual call-outs that Gervonta Davis made via his burner account and what he might be doing behind the scenes, it looks like he's trying to stay relevant in the absence of an actual fight. He feels himself fading into the background.
Remember, that's why he had a go at Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas.
Remember after the fight via his burner account, he was taking shots at them.
I think it's because he feels himself becoming irrelevant. He doesn't have anything to tell anybody.
He's becoming yesterday's news, so he's doing what he's doing not as a prank, but because he's insecure.
Some people still don't get it, which allows us to segue to what has fast become the most popular segment here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail!
Remember that guy who goes by the name The Creator, who said that Gervonta Davis is a cash cow?
And remember that there were people challenging that assertion. That 250,000 buys on average are not good pay-per-view buys. The Creator responded by saying, name 5 fighters in the past 5 years with better numbers.
Why? What's that gonna do?
If you can't name 5 fighters who have been putting up better numbers than Gervonta Davis's 200,000 on average, all that really means is most fighters don't belong on pay-per-view, which is what I've been saying. But it's not exclusive to them. It also pertains to Gervonta, that if you can't crack 300,000 buys on average, you shouldn't be on pay-per-view either.
200, 250 has never been the benchmark of a box office attraction.
So perhaps we can't name 5 fighters doing those numbers or better, but we're not supposed to.
Because most fighters aren't supposed to be on pay-per-view. Another regular here on the channel, Chris, said he's definitely part of the cash cow fighters, maybe not as much as Canelo or an Anthony Joshua or a Fury, but he can definitely do 300,000 in his next fight. Regardless of who he fights, you stay hating on the man.
So Chris, what do? You listen to the videos without looking at the screen? Cause I posted his numbers and he doesn't do 300,000 on average.
I think you like Tank deep down inside, bruh.
I think you're a Jono Sabo on the West Coast who cares more about pretending to be black than learning your native language.
Chris continued, your favorite fighter still doesn't make the pay-per-view numbers that Tank does.
Canelo's one of my favorite fighters and he regularly does more numbers than Tank.
Canelo fighting Edgar Berlanga, who everybody knew he was gonna beat, did more than Gervonta Davis's last 2 fights.
Stop me when I tell a lie.
Inoue is also one of my favorite fighters, and he currently holds the record for the 4th highest gate in the history of boxing. $32 million generated fighting his countryman, Junto Nakatani, and nowhere on that list do you see the name of Gervonta Davis.
Stop me when I tell a lie.
He's not at number 4, not at number 3, not at number 2, certainly not at number 1. In terms of the highest earning boxers in the sport of boxing, he's not even registered. He's not even there.
So how is that hating? Because I'm telling the truth?
If you've got a problem with me telling the truth, then why are you always here?
Sucking his fucking dick.
I don't have to lie about Gervonta Davis. Everything I said is a statistical fact.
Prove it.
You're just too stupid and immature to accept it, so you choose to believe the lie that he's this huge draw when the numbers don't tell that story.
You can still like him, though. You can love him. That's your prerogative. That's your problem.
But don't expect me to join you.
Mediocre!
And what is your wannabe pay-per-view star, your false idol, who's only the poster child for losers and degenerates, sagging his pants to show all the other inmates his asshole?
Mediocre!
Another tattooed idiot covered in meaningless scribblings, dressed like a child, unwilling to grow up.
Pathetic.
And the only people he really appeals to are other pathetic losers. Other pathetic man-children. Like you, a Jono Sabo somewhere in the West Coast who cares more about pretending to be black than learning your native language.
Because we both know you can't speak a lick of Spanish.
That's why you got so mad about what I said when it came to Ryan. It's because it applies to you too.
Pocho.